Hey YouTube, today I got some new headlights that I want to get installed on the Datsun. So here's the boxes they came in. I've kind of got the headlights already taken out. These are the kind of the buckets original to the car that they would mount to. And so today we're gonna try and get these HID headlights mounted into the 280Z. All right, I'm definitely no expert on headlights, but I can kind of show you what I got. So I got these, 7-inch round clear chrome bulbs here. It is an HID kit, and this bulb in the back is changeable. So there's the other one, both of these. It was a fairly priced kit, around $100, a little bit more, to get this HID conversion and these headlights. So that's what I went with, and it's an all-in-one kit, so I should be able to just wire this in on its own, harness that it came with. So here is the harness. It's just got all this stuff. I think that's for a relay. Actually, I don't even know. I haven't read the instructions yet, but this is kind of everything that you get, and we're going to try and get this wired into the car and see if we can get this car some headlights. So yeah, let's get started. And I did already clean up these headlight buckets here, so I'll show you what the before and after were for these. First thing we got to do is take out the original bulb that came in this and replace it with the HID. So I think this is like a halogen bulb, and so we're going to take that out, put this one in. As usual, you can only follow the instructions for so long until you get to a point where it's just not going to fit your application. So I got to that point, and now I had to figure out the wiring myself. I couldn't find any videos or information online. So basically, because I don't have any original wiring harness to hook this up to for the on and off switch, you're supposed to hook it up to the original stuff, but I don't have that, so I have to, make my own. And so that's what this clip is for. So I had to figure out which one was low beam, high beam, and ground. And so I figured it out. So brown is ground, blue is high beam, and white is low beam headlights. And so I got it hooked up to a jumper pack, and I tested it. And so I'll show you guys that if I just hook up a power from this alligator clip to one of the prongs, the lights will turn on. And so now I know I can wire it up in the car like this. First, we'll do the high beam. And it takes. All right, so I had to drill a hole in the back of the housing here so that these wires, especially this big plug here, can come on through. So I had to drill this hole, and then I think this hole might have been from factory, but then I'll just silicone these and probably silicone this one after. All right, so the first headlight we got secured to the housing here, and so we're gonna go ahead and get this mounted to the fender. Hopefully I mounted it upright, but just those screws and that chrome ring around hold the headlight, and then the wires through the back here, and we'll just silicone that up. But there it is. Okay, so got the headlights mounted into the fenders here. So that's done. Wasn't too difficult, but it was a bit of a process. So I'll show you the back of them. Nothing too crazy, just got the wires hanging there. Yeah. So now we're gonna put these fenders, go ahead and throw these fenders on the car, and then we can start looking at how we're going to route the wires. Alright, so we're back in the garage now, and I've got the front of the car jacked up. As you can see, we get the wheels off because we got the headlights mounted. So there they are, all mounted in there, look beautiful. So now it's time to start routing these ballasts, and so it's coming along pretty decent actually. So let me show you what I've got done so far. So here we are in the back of the headlight. So we've got the wires coming out of the back. We've got a good set of connectors here. And here is where I mounted the ballast. If I get my phone out of the way. So up there, behind, so I don't have the inner fender wells. So it makes it fairly easy for me. Yeah, so I mounted the ballast to the back of the headlight bucket with a riv nut right there. So I just drilled a hole and put the riv nut, and now I've got it bolted in. That's in there, and it's pretty solid, and it's not going anywhere. And so I've got some of the wires tucked back there. I've got a ground that I just need to ground, which I'll probably go up to this OEM hole, and just got to clean it up, make sure it's got some bare metal to get a good ground. And then I've got the wire, I've got this ballast thing on this side, and then I need to mount this somewhere. We'll go ahead and mount the ballast up on the other side, plug it all in, and see how much extra slack I got. Okay, so I wanted to find a spot for this junction box here, and you can see I got it mounted. There's plenty of this wire here to make it all the way to the other side, so I got a good amount of slack here, so it just made sense to mount it next to the ballast and not somewhere over here in the engine bay. So that's how I got them mounted. Now I need to extend these wires here. This is the power with the 30 amp fuse that needs to go basically to the battery, but I have a distribution block that I'm going to take it to under the dash. So this needs to be elongated because normally this kit is for cars with batteries in the front. So this has got to be extended out, not a problem. And then this plug is what controls high, low beam, and off or on. And it's brown, white, and blue, and I've got brown, white, and blue wire here, so we can make it less confusing down the road if I ever have to troubleshoot it. Keep everything the same wire. Doesn't always happen like that, but I try my best. So I got the 3 wires extended. I talked about the blue, white, and brown. The brown one is a ground, so I just grounded it right here, so I actually didn't need to extend that one, but I did need to still extend that power with the 30 amp. So have these 3, red, white, and blue, and going to start routing these. I'm going to put these in some loom and start routing them up back and through the firewall. Okay, so I got the headlight wires routed in that black loom there, coming back along the frame rail and then come up, and I've got them going through that plug back down in there. Just cut a little hole in that plug and comes through there, and then I've got plenty of wire coming on into the car, so So here's all of this, the high and low, and then the power. So these 3 wires here are what I need. And then I got a 3-way switch here for the operation of the headlights. So it's on, off, on. So off is in the middle, and if I want high or low beam, I think I'm going to wire it up, push it up, low beam, and then down is high beam. And I got it marked on my center plate, and so I'm going to drill the hole for this, and then we're going to start wiring it up. All right, so check out this mess of wiring here, and here is the headlight switch, the on-off on switch. I've got it wired up, and so let me kind of explain to you what's going on with the back of this here. So we've got 3 posts, and this blue wire coming to the 1 post is the input for the what is it? Blue is high beam, so we've got it going to the 1 side of the switch, and then we've got white on this side of the switch which would activate the low beam. So we've got both sides for the headlights, low, high and a low. And then we've got this orange set of wires. This is the running lights for the front of the car. So I've got it wide right there because no matter if I'm in a low or a high beam, I need the running lights to be on. So it's going to both sides of the switch. And then same with the white. I've got it wide, and this wire is going to the back of the car. So I've got 1 wire going to the front, 1 wire going to the back, which Y's, so that they're both on no matter which high or low beam I'm on. And then this power wire in the middle, that's just a switched 12 volt power source that whenever I turn basically my accessory on, it's going to send power to this, and then whichever way the switch goes, up or down, it's gonna send the power in that direction. So and then that's what lets the relay for the headlights know to turn on and send the power through, because if you remember, there's another power wire with this headlight kit that goes straight to the battery, which I have done. So all this switch is doing is just letting the relay know that came with the HID kit to turn on. So not all the power is coming through the switch, however the power is going to the running lights through this switch, which is not very high amperage at all. This switch can handle it. Okay, so I was going to show you the headlights turning on, but they actually weren't working properly because I noticed that they weren't switching from high and low beam. Let me turn the light on. So after some troubleshooting, and maybe if you already saw the way I wired it, you probably already know what the issue is going to be, is these 2 prongs for the running lights to be on when you have your high or your low. That's what was my original thought, but you can't wire it like this, because when you switch, say, the low beam for this one side, the power is going to travel through, but it's also going to travel back to the other side, which is then going to give power to the high beam of the switch. So if you have it wired like this and you switch it to one side, you're going to have power going to the other side of this too, which then gives the other side of the switch power, and which in my case meant that at all times the high beam was staying on. So yeah, so I can't wire it like this. So essentially I need the running lights to have their own switch. I don't think there's any better way to do it, unfortunately, at least none that I can think of right now, and so the only way I know to do it is to give the running lights their own switch on the switch panel. And so I'll have a switch for running lights and a switch for headlights. So yeah, there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new switch, but otherwise the headlights do work well, and I'll show you those. Okay, so I've got the new switch here for the running lights, and then I've got the switch here for the headlights. So I'm going to hand the camera over, and then we're going to start testing some stuff.
Your running lights are on.
Alright, so the running lights are on. I already had them switched on. So that's switching them off. Okay, so just a little view of what it's like in the car. So I'm going to switch the low beam on. And then we can switch right over to high, no problem. And there's high. So definitely be able to tell at night, but working good so far. So now it's time to clean up this whole mess of wiring and all the wiring that's in the wheel well, and get it cleaned up, and then pretty much finalized, because everything's working pretty good. Just got the two switches now, running lights and headlights, and it works pretty good. So just time to clean it all up. Well, that's actually where we're going to end this one. I'm not going to put the whole dash back together quite yet. I think I'm going to actually pull the dash out, and we might be flocking it next. So that's why I'm not going to put it all together yet, because we've got that in the works. So again, this is headlight installation, and went fairly smooth, and it turned out pretty good. So hopefully this gives you some insight if you want to do this to your Datsun or any other car, and helps you at all. All right, see you in the next one.